Does the NFL have a massive problem on its hand, or do you think it'll just over time it'll work itself out?
I don't think it's a massive problem, but it's getting harder to sell tickets to everything. Okay, so there's so much for people to do that two bad teams 25 years ago probably would have had a lot more people there. Today, there's a lot of good things to do, and so it's getting a lot harder to sell tickets to everything, especially those to not a good game. And in the case of the Chargers, they're in transition, so
who would want to play for the Chargers? I mean, what player? They don't have a home game.
Well,
they don't have home games.
When they go to that new stadium, they're going to have the work cut out from it. They're going to have to build a fan base. It won't be easy, and it's going to take time. They're in transition. That's the risk the NFL took when it decided to go to L.A. It was not without risk.
What about Major League Baseball?
They have bigger stadiums. So Yankee Stadium's 3 times the size as Madison Square Garden.
Well, how many?
And they have 20, twice as many games. So it's getting harder to sell tickets, and they have a lot of tickets to sell.
And how many do they need to bring in?
A lot, but they have to sell 195 million tickets a year. That's a lot of tickets. There are more choices for people to do things today than there were 20 years ago.
But, you know, it's not just Major League sports. People aren't going to the malls now. They're not going to the movie theaters. You know, ticket sales for Hollywood down as well if you take out the Disney impact. I mean, people are just staying home more.
Well, there's more to do, okay? Sports is still quite strong. I mean, 49 of the top 50 programs on TV are sports. You look at the PGA Tour, just did a record media deal. The Southeast Conference went from 55 million for Saturday afternoon games to 330 million.
And yet the ratings for PGA Tour are down hard, but they're signing these record deals. What about the impact that gambling is going to have on all these sports?
It's going to have a really good.
Where the growth is?
It is going to have a very good impact. Now, you're 19 times more likely to watch something on TV if you bet on the game, and it's really going to connect yourself with the avid fan. So yes, gambling is going to drive interest, particularly with the core fan.
Are you familiar with this phenomenon?
I am familiar. I live in New Jersey. It is legal, by the way.
Yes.
And the under on the Jets-Steelers game was a complete lock. Anyway, when you look at these stadiums, I know people, George, they're afraid of violence. They're afraid of terrorism. I'm not kidding. And they don't like to be in these big spaces that are hard to get out of. Do you think any of that is pushing people away in some cases? Just the cost, the fear, the combination of everything.
I don't think it's the safety issue as much as there's just other great stuff to do. I mean, people are consuming content in all kinds of devices. It's hard to sell tickets to anything. And therefore, what the league's going to have to do is find things like gambling and develop great relationships with their core fans. It's going to get harder to get people to go places. As you point out, not just games, but the malls.
Well, you're the former CEO of NASCAR. I'm a big gearhead. You look at the stands and, you know, Michigan or Pocono or what, they seem to be half empty.
Well, it's an issue that my friends in NASCAR, when I used to talk to them, they said, what do you think? I said, I'd fill the stands. Because what happens over, NASCAR has been 13 or 14 years of shrinking audience. You know, you're less likely to sponsor. And if you're watching TV, I'm not going to watch something that nobody's at. So filling the stands, it's an important part of the business equation. It's not getting easier, and therefore you're going to have to become better at it.
But yet, I mean, we have a definite haves and have-nots phenomenon going on in Major League sports. The valuations of some of these teams are just astronomical. The Cowboys and the Patriots and, you know,
the Knicks, look at that chart. $4 billion for the Knicks bill. They haven't won a game since.
Look, millions of people are tuning in.
How do you say a sports franchise is successful? Just by its valuation or by how its team is doing?
Well, the people are experiencing sports franchises in a lot of different ways outside of just going to the game. And on television, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like live sports. Like I said earlier, 49 of the top 50 events on television are sporting events. So sports is strong. But it's getting harder to sell tickets to everything. But on the media, digital consumption, other things, gambling, fantasy, it's very vibrant and still very strong. And, you know, the Super Bowl sold out on television. The Olympic Games advertising is very strong. There are a number of metrics right now that are I'm very bullish on sports. But it's getting hard to sell two bad football teams. Sell those tickets, it's hard to sell.
MLS going to Charlotte. I mean, MLS has been a spectacular investment, right? I mean, the teams went for $25 million. Now they're $500, $600 million. Are we going to have a $1 billion MLS team, or do we have one already?
You will have a $1 billion MLS team. And look, esports is coming on too. More and more people are tuning in to esports.
Incredible.
So sports is strong, but changing.
Yeah, it's evolving, that's for sure.